Okay, so I was telling a mate of mine how I created a starter template just to repetitively quickly get up and running with little projects which they're not for you know professional deployments or anything. They're just to so you can mess around with libraries and stuff like that at home. And I was doing that quite a bit, and found that it's just taking me ages to set these up every time. So I've created a repository which effectively is like a cookie cutter. So I want to dig into that a bit more, show him how that worked and how you can use it. So we're going to open Git. I'm going to close this instance of it, open Git here, and we'll clone that repository. Okay, so that's pulled that down. And you can rename this folder to anything you want to. So my underscore playground, whatever you want. Can't spell. Okay, and then so what we've got here is basically a template of things, and let's open this up in Visual Studio Code. So I'll just grab that URL, open up code. Now I don't want this, it always opens the last one I was working on. I want this one. And the other thing I have to do before I get into it, so I'll open up the browser, not the browser, sorry, the command line at the bottom, which is just basically a PowerShell line, and change directory to that directory. So now I'm in the same directory as my project. So I'll go back up here, and you can see the nuts and bolts of this directory, and it's very bare bones. So you can see in the dev dependencies of the package.json, I've just got Webpack, Webpack CLI, and Webpack dev server. Now Webpack and Webpack CLI are just for bundling. Webpack dev servers, the important one, it's just a mini little server that lets you serve HTTP. So it enables you to run these HTML files over through a browser using the HTTP protocol rather than just launching it from the operating system. And there are various benefits in doing that. And so what I'm going to do now is go back down to the command line, and I'm going to do an npm install. So the reason I run npm install is because the package JSON is already there, it's already set up, and if you run npm install, it'll basically go to your package JSON and say, oh, okay, there's 3 dependencies here, Webpack, Webpack CLI, and Webpack Dev Server. I need to install those. So rather than individually saying npm install Webpack, save dev, and npm individually do that for CLI and Webpack Dev Server, if it's already in the package.json, you just run an npm install and it goes and does that. And so if we now go to our folder here, we can see we've got a node modules, and it's downloaded all of the relevant modules that Webpack uses. And so at the moment, if we look at our index.html, it is going to be looking for a script called home bundle. You can see that on line 17 there. 17 home bundle. And so home bundle, if we go over to the where the files are, you can see there's no home bundle in this private in this public directory yet. We've got a couple of JavaScript files up here in the client app directory, but nothing here in the public. So I only got this site.css, which will hold our CSS. So if we go down to the webpack.config file, let's open that up. What that's basically telling us is we're going to create a bundle, and we're going to look for our files in the client app file and client app folder, and that is over here, client app. And if we then look over here, we're going to create bundles out of these particular JavaScript files. And the output bundles over here, and this token name will substitute whatever here is in the key for our little JavaScript object here. That gets put there. And so the output also directory, the path for that is this public directory variable, which is set up on line 5, and then you can see that that is actually this directory here, that public directory right there. So let's go back down to the command line, and I'll just clear that so we can see what's going on. Okay, so first I'm going to show you the sort of long-winded, old way, inefficient way, and that's just so you sort of understand what's going on. So you can see we're in the same folder here as the package.json, which is where you need to execute the following command from. And so it's the node command, and we're going to dig into the node modules, Webpack, bin, and Webpack, and we're going to execute in the node environment this Webpack JavaScript file. And what that is going to do is it's going to pick up the config that we've created and run Webpack on that config. And so now you can see we've actually got our bundles. Here's the about hyphen bundle. Recall that I had that token in the Webpack config, this name token, which would go and create a file based on the key in this object. So there's the about one, which I just mentioned. Here's the contact one, and whoops, here's the home one. Where's the home one there? So there are bundles, and so if you now go and look at our index, it's looking at the home bundle, and the contact is, HTML is going to look at the contact bundle. So and by the way, as part of my template, I just included these about, contact, and index as a starting point, and these 3 files. You can change them around, add more, remove them, whatever, just so long as that whatever you do in over here correlates to what's going on over here. And if we get a bit of time, I could show you another page, adding another page in another bundle. In fact, I might do that. But in the meantime, I'm just going to go back down here, and we're going to run I mentioned a moment ago that I was going to show you the sort of old inefficient way of doing that, and that shows you what's sort of happening under the scenes. You're running node executable on that Webpack script, and that picks up the config and blah blah blah. The easy way of doing it, and it's easy because you don't have to dig into that path of node modules /webpack /bin / whatever. All you have to do is write npx webpack, boom, same effect, a lot easier. So npm added that npx at some point, and that effectively is the modern easy way of running Webpack. But what I'm about to show you now with Webpack dev server is that you can basically, you don't need to manually build the bundle like that. So we've built the bundle like that manually, but we don't really need to. So we've got Webpack config here, and I'm just going to delete these bundles again because who cares? And let's just take a look. Not much going on here, just console log howdy. And so if we go back to our config, no, sorry, not our Webpack config. We want to go to our package.json. In our package.json, you can see our scripts. We've got this start script, and basically what that does is that runs from the command line this Webpack dev server hot, And so that's going to give us automatic module reloading and nice stuff like that. And I'll explain what that means in a moment. And let's just rename this, by the way. We're going to call this y, was it underscore playground. Okay, cool. But that doesn't matter. You didn't need to do that. I'm just a bit pedantic. So let's go down here and we'll run npm run start. And this is running the Webpack dev server. It fires up a local host, and you can see now we have, you can't, doesn't actually show it, but it is, sorry, HTTP, we do have the HTTP protocol there. It's just the Chrome chops that off. And so if we go to the dev tools, we can see that we've got howdy written there. So that app.js got executed. I'm just going to change the docking on these web tools to make it a bit easier to demonstrate stuff. Okay. And if I went to go to the about page, I'm now on the about page, go to contact page and go back home. So, that's the template. So the next thing I want to show you is I'm now just going to go and do something. Okay, let's actually do something. I'm going to play around with the new sort of module stuff in JavaScript. So let's just see how we go there. Got a new file here. Let's change the language to JavaScript. Sorry, not. Oh, the other thing. So I'm going to show you how to stop the dev server. So we'll go back down to the command line. We go Control C, asks us terminate batch job. Yes, and so that is terminated. Okay, so back up to the code. What were we doing? We were looking at and we want something which is the JavaScript. Okay, now knows it's a JavaScript file. Okay, so we're going to do a class, and this is going to be called, not very imaginatively, client stuff. Okay, so here's our class, and constructor wise, I don't think I really need anything. So nothing really in the constructor, and at this point we really just want to see that it sort of is alarm and kicking. So I'll quickly just go to the index, and I'm just going to add up here where it says this is home. Let's chuck a div in here, and we'll give that an ID of app. Okay. Now we will go here and we're going to do a bit of, what are we going to do here? We're going to call this function create node, because I've just got no imagination right now. And so we'll do a bit of document create element, and we'll just make it a div, and then do a bit of that. Then we're going to do a bit of document dot create text node, and it's just going to say I got created, and then we will go let new div equal that, and new div dot append that. Thankfully you got new frameworks that do this DOM stuff for you, but anyway, sometimes it's fun to drop this level. Then we'll do a bit of document dot append new div, and so we know that if this new div gets appended, then we've succeeded. Now the last thing we need to do is use the old export keyword, and we're exporting this class here to make it usable. And I've done something wrong there, because you can see I've got the red squiggle. Maybe I haven't done anything wrong there. I just had a quick look and I can't see anything wrong. I'm going to make it default so that maybe that's what the problem was, so that there's only one thing to grab. And so if I go back to my app.js, we can get rid of that now. I can do a bit of import. And it's going to be what, client stuff from, and I didn't save that untitled thing, so let's save that now. And I want to save it, yep, I'm in the right folder, and I'm just going to call this same name as the class, client stuff. Import client stuff from the class client stuff. Thank you Visual Studio for that little assist. There we go. So we've now got client stuff. So we can go document dot add event listener, and the event listener we're going to add is DOM content loaded. Content loaded. And we're going to do this function, and the function is going to be let client stuff equal new client stuff, and what was the name of our function? Create node. Client. Gosh. Dot create node. It's not there. And let's see if this works. So what I need to do is this app is already in the index.html. That's in the home bundle, and we're good to go. We've got our, that's what I didn't do, sorry. My mistake. I go back to this client, and what I need to do is let app div equal document dot query selector. That's the new API for doing that kind of stuff. App, and that should give us what we want, and then we will append that to the app div. So let's save everything. Oops, wrong button. And let's see how we go. I'm sure I won't have got this completely right on the first go, but let's see where we're at. And as I said, I'm sure I didn't get it right on the first way. So we'll do a bit of, it's not a constructor. So I've obviously got some kind of problem with my class syntax, etc. Okay, so I just did a bit of investigation. I paused the video because I didn't want to keep you held up watching me try and troubleshoot, and I figured out what I did wrong. So because I'm exporting only one thing, the default class, I don't need these curly braces here, so we're exporting the whole class from client stuff. And the other thing was this query selector. I need the CSS selector in there, so that's the hashtag app. And so if we save that, I'm just going to go back to the browser and we go localhost 9000, and you can see I got created is there. So I'm just gonna get rid of the this link because I feel like it's getting in the way. Oops, no, I don't want to do that. Get out of there. There we go, and that's gone. Now, one of the cool things I mentioned this sort of the way that it automatically updates. So one of the reasons we like Webpack and Webpack Dev Server, etc., is if you change something in JavaScript, it automatically recompiles the bundle and that automatically reloads the page, so you don't have to hit F5 all the time, etc. And so I can go here and just type in this div got created, and you can see it's recompiled. And if I now go over here, you can see this div got created is now being rendered in that page. So that's one of the cool things about the Webpack. And if you want to debug it, I'll show you the place to do it. It's not in this local host, it's down here in Webpack, and then you go down to the one with just a dot, and then you go in here and you can see I've got my client app folder, and if we go into the client stuff, you can see I've got a breakpoint here, and so if I now hit F5, it's first it's breaking on this app div where it's found the thing and it's about to put the new div there, etc. So if I F8 it will complete. So that's just to show you where you can debug this stuff if you want to debug it. So now let's go and do something interesting with a bit of data, and I'm just going to chuck that over here. Now I'm going to chuck this in the public folder because customers JSON, because I'm not going to be bundling this with Webpack. I just want to be able to read it up off the file system, and so I'm going to use the fetch API. Let's do another method here and call it create customers, and what we're going to do is we're going to do a bit of fetch. I love fetch. It's built into most modern browsers now. It's a much more elegant way of getting stuff than using the old sort of HTTP XML URL request or whatever the heck it was. And so we can just and the great thing is it also will pick stuff up off the operating off the file system. So it's really great for just mocking data and playing around with stuff at home. So I've got my JSON file, and I'm going to go dot then, and at this point I'm just doing an arrow function because I'm tired of typing the function keyword. We'll go res dot for each, and we'll just do a console.log. Actually, I need to pass out a function too, don't I? Customer, and log customer. Let's just see what that does. Wait up, I've got too many brackets here or something, haven't I? Oh my gosh, that's why you don't want to go for a swim in a pool with chlorine before you start writing code. My eyes are red and bleary. So, okay, so we've got our create customers. Let's call that, and then what's that going to look like over here? So client staff dot create customers, and let's just go and poke our nose in the browser, see what's what over at the console, And okay, we've got a bit of an issue there, so we're going to debug and see what's going on. Let's see what's going on. Okay, so why don't you like that? Be gone, I don't need you. Is that because of a typo? I believe it is. You're probably screaming at me 10 minutes ago, there's an S, and I missed it. Whoops. Sorry about that. Now it's got a problem at this point, but that's good. That's good. We're moving further. So, okay, what's this result? That's right. It's just me forgetting what the API is for fetch. So res is actually, I think it has a JSON method on it. So it should look something like that. And what's the problem now? For each is not a problem. So, okay, what we're going to do now is we're just going to dump this JSON to take a look at it. So, console.log. You can see how the automatic reload of was awesome of Webpack. And what has that done in the console? We've got this promise, it's fulfilled, and we've got this array, and there's our customers. So that's working. I just need to try and figure out why I can't iterate that array. So let's assign it to a variable and see where that gets us. So let customer equal res.json and customer log. Just curious to see what the customer is. Customer, it's a promise. Yeah, I did not think that would be a promise. I thought it would be an array. I've obviously got something in the, maybe it's .body.json. Otherwise, I'm Googling it after this. Yeah, it doesn't like body. Pausing the video. Okay, yep, figured it out. I was doing something wrong, bit silly, so I need another then. So what we do is then, whoa, that was a shocker. The results, and it's going to return a result.json. Now result.json actually returns a promise. That's why we need another then. And in this, so what we can do here is go let customer array equal. We'll just assign the variable to it. It's just the variable itself that's coming in to the arrow function. And then now what we can do is we can iterate that. And so we'll go customer array for each, and we'll just do an arrow function here for each customer, console log C, and we'll just print out the address of the customer, and we should be good to go. So let's take a look at that. F5, and if you look at the console, here are all the addresses of the customers in that JSON file. So we're looking good. Now, so we could do all sorts of interesting things there, like we could create a list, document dot create element, and we would go, what do we want? A unordered list, please. And then we would do a for loop. Let's let unordered list equal that, and in our for loop, instead of just, let's gonna add a body to this bad boy. And now we can do a bit of ul.append, and we're going to append document dot create element, and it's going to be effectively a list item. And actually we don't want to do it exactly like that because we need to assign that to a variable. Got our list item there, and then we want to do a list item dot append Charles, and it's going to be basically the C address, and then we'll do let's see what this looks like. So it hasn't worked yet, but do not fear, we will figure out why. So I think this is just going to be as simple as document dot create, oh bloody hell, making me work for it, text node. How's that go? Still no cigar. What's going on? Oh, you are such a drip. Now we just need to go here, we'll grab that, and then we'll go app div dot append, and we're going to append that, and that should work. Check it out! Woohoo! Alright. Now what I'm going to do is just a little bit of refactoring because I really like functional style of programming, and I don't like using a for each loop which hangs off an array object. To me that's just obscene. So we'll go here, and you really could use there's a multitude of libraries. The one I'm most familiar with is underscore. So we're going to do an npm install of underscore save. Only going to do a save because we want to use it in our application. And so now if I go to my client stuff, I should be able to do an import underscore okay, so we're going to import map from underscore okay, and we're going to use it actually I'm going to just name this underscore map just to make it abundantly clear that that's what we're using. And so what we're going to do is go underscore dot map, and the one thing I don't like about underscore is in a functional programming language like this, the collection should go at the end, not the beginning. It should be a function collection, not collection function. You can read a big blog post by the guy who wrote Ramda.js as to why that's the case and why underscore are not doing it right. But otherwise, underscore is a fantastic library. And so this will be our customer object, and we're basically just going to take this stuff, rip the guts out of there, and chuck it in here, and hopefully should be the exact same. Actually I've got to start npm again, haven't I? Npm start, nope, kill that. Npm start, And so something's gone a little wrong, as it always does. Let's check it out. What doesn't it like? I've just done a colossal sort of syntax error when I was trying to be fancy before. The actual function is that, and we want to alias it as map. Or maybe that's got to be within the curly brace, has it? There we go. See how that turns out. Need to rename the variable, and so everything here, I'm just going to rename this to C because there's more instances of that. Oh look, it's working. So we've refactored that using underscore, and that's now working. And I like that a lot better than, as I said, calling methods off the array object itself. It's a much more functional way of doing things. The last thing I'm going to show you how to do is to add another JavaScript file and HTML file, and the whole sort of shebang in terms of adding it to Webpack and stuff like that. Actually, before we do that, I thought let's just do one more thing just to mess around with promises and have a bit of fun with that. So what we're going to do in this then statement, we are going to return something from the promise. So we're going to do a promise.resolve, and what we're going to resolve is we'll call this property list, and we'll just pass in the unordered list element that we created, and the customers array, we'll just call it customers, and we'll need to grab these two, and then we can do a then, and we'll grab them there. Now I'm just going to copy this because we are going to do another loop, and we're going to do a map over. This time it's going to be called res.customers because that's what we called it. Get rid of the console, don't need that. And this time we'll do the website. And if we take a look at that, we've made a mistake somewhere, but that's okay. Down here we need this to be res.list, and we also need that to go up here, and we should be good to go. There we go, boom, booyah! So that's a bit of fun. Now, like I said, last thing I'm going to show is how to go about adding another HTML page if you want one. So let's just close this, close that, and we'll go over here. We'll stop the server, so Control CY, and back up here. Let's create another page called stuff. I just have no imagination. And so we want to do an HTML5 document, and I'll just go and sort of similar kind of body to that one. We haven't added any CSS whatsoever here, so I'm not going to bother with the CSS stuff. And interestingly, you can see I've used a few Bootstrap classes there, but I haven't even added Bootstrap to the project. I mean, that'd probably make a difference, so I might do that. Let's just do a npm install Bootstrap. Okay, Bootstrap, save. And I should be able to just go up here and do a style tag with, what is it, link or something like that, equals, it's going to be okay, so it's going to be like that, I believe. If it doesn't work, don't worry, not really that important. So we want to create a new JavaScript file, and so I'm just going to call this unimaginatively stuff.js, and I'm going to do nothing in this, just a console.log. Go with the old hello world. Okay, and then so we've got that. Now we need to go to our Webpack config, and so we're going to add a app directory plus, and it's just going to be stuff. Stuff.js, yo beauty. And now that means that the bundle is going to be called stuff.bundle.js. So if we go back to our stuff, and it's just going to be called stuff.bundle.js. And so if I go and start this up, it's pointless adding Bootstrap because I'm not actually doing anything. I'm just writing something on the console. Anyway, good times. That's what you get when you don't think something through. Maybe I'll add it to the other page. So let's just go to stuff.html, check out the console, and hello world. Boom. So that's how you add another HTML file and a JavaScript file, and then add that JavaScript file to the bundle using Webpack. Reasonably straightforward, just a couple of steps there. And so that enables you to just sort of mess around at home with JavaScript libraries and using the ES6 module import stuff, etc. In a pretty quick and easy way. I am interested to see just what happens if I add this bootstrap style to, I probably need to tell it that it's a type equals style sheet, something like that, I can't remember. Let's go to the, was it the index? What am I doing that for? That's what it is, rel style sheet type equals text CSS, that would have helped, and it's href. Okay, I'm all over the shop, aren't I? I thought it was link in the style tags. Anyway, so what's happened here? It's compiled successfully, and if we go back to the index, there we go. Be interested to see if Bootstrap's among those sources. No, it's not. Didn't pick up the Bootstrap. That is unusual. I definitely saved it. And it's definitely not there. Ah, well, that, my friends, is a mystery for another day. Perhaps you can leave me a comment in the comments below. Tell me what I did wrong and try not to insult me too much.